In the heart of Huntsville, Alabama, a family once seen as picture-perfect is falling apart, not on TV, but in real life. Behind the smiles and social media posts, children are caught in a storm of fear, neglect, and silence. Reports say one young boy, Tank, is now afraid of his own father. When a school has to step in to protect a child, it's no longer just a custody battle, it's a crisis. This isn't about drama or fame anymore. It's about accountability, truth, and 4 innocent lives hanging in the balance. The heavy, humid air in Huntsville, Alabama, feels almost symbolic, a tangible reflection of the thick, lingering tension surrounding Martell Holt and Melody Shari. It's been 5 years since their divorce, yet the turmoil between them refuses to settle. What began as a hopeful union has devolved into an unending custody war, a painful saga where the real casualties are the children trapped in its emotional crossfire. This isn't your typical celebrity breakup plastered across reality TV for ratings. It's a slow, painful unraveling, happening in real time, with consequences that cut far deeper than entertainment. Reports claim Martell once uttered the chilling phrase "F them kids," words that, if true, echo like an indictment of his own character. The statement encapsulates an unsettling disregard for the very people who depend on him most, sparking outrage among those who still hold parenthood sacred. Though the full context remains buried in rumor, the emerging accounts of neglect, missteps, and parental irresponsibility form a troubling narrative. The alleged timeline reads more like a family tragedy than a simple domestic dispute. In June 2025, reports surfaced claiming the children were left alone late into the night while Martell was away, relying, once again, on his mother, Miss Marleene, to fill the parental void. A grandmother's love can soften many blows, but it cannot erase the heartbreak of watching her grandchildren bear the weight of their father's alleged failures. Through it all, Miss Marleene remains the unshakable constant, the anchor holding a fractured family together. Time and again, she steps in to fill the void left by Martell's alleged absences, her quiet strength serving as a lifeline for her grandchildren. Whenever he stumbles, she is there, steady, patient, and unyielding in her love. Yet even the most devoted grandmother shouldn't have to carry that weight. It's not her burden to bear, nor her duty to patch the holes left by a parent's neglect. Her presence, though noble and selfless, is a bittersweet reminder of what's missing: a father fully present, engaged, and accountable. The image of Miss Marleene juggling tenderness with responsibility paints a powerful picture. It's both heartwarming and heartbreaking. Heartwarming because of her devotion, heartbreaking because she has become a stand-in parent when she should be enjoying the rewards of grandparenthood. A grandmother should spoil her grandchildren with affection, not shield them from the emotional fallout of an absent parent. Yet here she stands, the quiet hero in the background, doing what needs to be done when others refuse to step up. Then comes July 2025, bringing perhaps the most devastating revelation of all. Tank, Martell's young son, allegedly confides that he's afraid of his own father. That one word, fear, carries the weight of an entire story. It lingers in the air like a storm cloud, heavy with sorrow and truth. No child should ever feel fear in the presence of the person meant to protect them. A father's voice should be a source of safety, not dread. The innocence in that admission exposes the tragedy beneath it: a child's desperate longing for love, tangled with the terror that love might only bring pain. If the reports are true, then this situation stretches far beyond the boundaries of poor parenting. It becomes a profound betrayal of trust, the kind that etches scars not on the body, but deep within the heart and mind of a child. When a parent, the very person meant to protect and nurture, becomes a source of fear, something fundamental breaks. It is not a simple misstep or a fleeting lapse in judgment. It is a wound that shapes how a child will view love, safety, and trust for the rest of their life. The thought of Tank, a young boy allegedly living with this burden, is haunting. Imagine being torn between the natural instinct to love your father and the dread that love seems to bring. That conflict is not something a child should ever have to face. Love, for a child, should be simple, unconditional, and safe. Yet for Tank, that love appears to have become entangled with fear, confusion, and heartbreak. What must it feel like to want to run into your father's arms, yet hesitate because those arms no longer feel safe? It's a cruel contradiction that no child should ever have to navigate, a tug-of-war between loyalty and self-preservation. Fear is a heavy thing for an adult, but for a child, it's unbearable. It seeps into everything: the way they sleep, the way they speak, the way they see themselves. When home becomes a place of anxiety instead of comfort, a child's sense of stability begins to crumble. They start to question their worth, wondering if the anger directed toward them is somehow their fault. That's how emotional scars form. Quietly, invisibly, through moments of confusion and pain that accumulate over time. By August, the distress had reportedly grown so severe that it spilled beyond the walls of the family home and into the one place that should always be a refuge: school. For most children, school is a sanctuary, a predictable space filled with structure, friends, and caring adults who provide guidance. But when that sanctuary must become a mediator in a child's family conflict, it's a sign that something has gone terribly wrong. According to reports, administrators, counselors, and teachers convened meetings specifically to address Martell's alleged behavior and its growing emotional impact on Tank. When educators, professionals trained to recognize distress, are compelled to step in, it's no longer just a domestic issue, it's a public alarm bell. Schools don't intervene lightly. For them to do so means they've seen consistent signs of distress, fear, or instability in a child's demeanor. Perhaps Tank's grades began to slip. Maybe he grew quiet and withdrawn. Or perhaps his teachers noticed the nervous glances, the hesitation to speak, the way he seemed perpetually on edge. Educators often become the first line of defense for children suffering in silence. They notice the small shifts that most overlook, the daydreaming that replaces focus, the forced smiles, the moments when a child flinches at a raised voice. When they gather to discuss a student's home life, it's because they know the situation has crossed a line. For Tank, that intervention likely meant that the pain he'd been carrying had finally become visible to the outside world. At this stage, the cracks in the family's foundation could no longer be ignored. What may have once been minor fractures, moments of anger, neglect, or emotional distance, had deepened into gaping voids demanding immediate attention. The situation had reached a point where the damage was no longer contained within private walls. It was spilling into every aspect of Tank's life. His education, friendships, and emotional development were being shaped by an environment of instability that no child should have to endure. And yet, the tragedy here lies not only in the events themselves, but in the silence that often follows them. Too often, society dismisses the cries of children in distress, labeling their behavior as acting out or being difficult, rather than recognizing it as a symptom of something deeper. When schools step in, it's a plea for adults, especially those in positions of authority, to take action before it's too late. It's worth pausing to consider what this means for Tank in the long term. The emotional effects of living in fear of a parent are profound and long-lasting. Children in such circumstances often struggle with trust, intimacy, and self-esteem well into adulthood. They carry the echoes of those early experiences into every future relationship, constantly seeking the stability they once lacked. Unless intervention comes quickly and compassionately, the cycle of pain risks repeating itself. This is why the reported school involvement is so critical. It represents more than administrative duty. It's an act of collective concern, an acknowledgement that a child's well-being must take precedence over a parent's pride or public image. It is, in many ways, the community saying, enough. Enough avoidance. Enough excuses. Enough suffering in silence. A child should never be forced to live at the intersection of love and fear. They should never have to question whether affection comes with conditions or punishment. For Tank, and for countless children like him, intervention from schools, courts, or extended family can be the difference between ongoing trauma and the beginning of healing. If the allegations are indeed true, then this story is not merely about parental failure. It is a crisis of empathy. It challenges everyone involved, from the courts to the community, to look beyond appearances and take real action. The family doesn't need more silence or superficial apologies. It needs honesty, accountability, and decisive steps toward healing. The cracks in this family's foundation have widened into canyons, and unless something changes soon, the damage may become permanent. But with intervention, compassion, and a true commitment to change, even the deepest wounds can begin to heal. The question now is whether those responsible, both within the home and within the system, will finally rise to that responsibility, or whether this child will be left to carry a lifetime of pain that could have been prevented. When a school has to intervene between a parent and child, it's no longer just a family dispute, it's a crisis. The involvement of educators highlights the severity of what's unfolding, stripping away any illusion that this is a simple clash between ex-spouses. At its heart, this is about a child's safety, their right to safety, and the desperate need for a nurturing home. Then comes October 15th, a date circled in red, the day that was supposed to bring answers, accountability, maybe even a turning point. Instead, it brought disappointment. Martell, the man at the center of it all, didn't show up. Another excuse, another evasion. He blamed work, the same work that somehow outweighed a court hearing about the children he claims to love. The irony is painful. With Love and Marriage, Huntsville on pause and the cameras off, Martell couldn't spare a single day to face the reality behind the show. What kind of work could possibly take priority over your own children's welfare? The absence spoke louder than any justification could. It reeked of disrespect, not only toward the court, but toward Melody, the children, and the fragile process meant to bring resolution. What followed was a predictable dance of delay and deflection. Continuances filed, hearings postponed, excuses crafted with precision. Martell seemed to have perfected the art of stalling, using the system's cracks to his advantage. Though anger management and therapy were reportedly recommended, genuine progress appeared nowhere in sight. It raises the unsettling question: does he truly want to change? Or has chaos become his comfort zone, a stage where drama feeds the very ego he refuses to confront? The truth, harsh as it may be, seems clear. Martell appears far more invested in protecting his image than in protecting his children. As long as the spotlight remains within reach, fatherhood risks becoming just another role. One has forgotten how to play sincerely. As long as Martell's name keeps circulating on social media, as long as blogs continue dissecting his every move, he seems to find comfort in the noise. But this isn't the kind of relevance anyone should crave. It's a toxic form of visibility, one that shines an unforgiving light on his alleged failures while magnifying the pain those actions have caused his children. The warning signs couldn't be clearer. Children reluctant to visit, a son voicing fear, schools forced to intervene. These are not minor issues. They are red flags, waving urgently, signaling that something deeper and far more troubling lies beneath the surface. And yet, the court appears paralyzed by procedure, allowing the situation to deteriorate while the children's needs remain unmet. Through it all, Melody stands as a striking contrast. In the midst of chaos, she has become a pillar of stability, nurturing her children, building her businesses, and focusing on personal growth. She's not just surviving, she's rebuilding with grace and resilience. But instead of being supported, it feels as though the system has allowed Martell to weaponize the custody battle, turning it into a tool for control and emotional warfare. Every missed visit, every postponed hearing, every unnecessary confrontation seems like another calculated move, designed to wear her down, to drain her emotionally and financially. Then there are the reports of Martell's inconsistent presence, a father who appears only when it suits him, vanishing when responsibility becomes inconvenient. And when he does show up, it's often accompanied by tension and arguments, creating an atmosphere thick with unease. It's no surprise that Tank and his siblings are said to express discomfort. Children see more than adults think they do. They know the difference between a parent who is truly present and one who is merely performing the part. Sadly, this is a story as old as divorce itself. One parent desperate to maintain control long after love has faded, dragging the other through an exhausting maze of manipulation and spite. It's a power struggle disguised as parenting, and it's the children who end up paying the price. After 5 long years of this emotional tug-of-war, one can't help but wonder, how many more chances does the system grant before it finally prioritizes the well-being of the children over the ego of the adults? How many times can one person defy the rules before real consequences follow? How long can someone disregard court orders and walk away unscathed? These are the questions echoing across the Huntsville community, where frustration is growing louder by the day. People are speaking out, in forums, comment threads, and everyday conversations, demanding accountability from a system that seems all too willing to look the other way. Is favoritism at play? It's a question that hangs in the air, impossible to ignore. How else can anyone explain the endless string of second chances, the repeated violations that somehow go unpunished? Reports of anger issues, neglect, and irresponsibility should have set off alarm bells long ago. And yet, years later, the same accusations continue to surface, as if caught on a loop, the same patterns, the same pain, the same unlearned lessons. At this point, Martell's behavior has evolved beyond immaturity. It's harmful, to himself, to his reputation, and most painfully, to his children. The emotional burden they carry must be unimaginable, living with instability, walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next storm will hit. That kind of uncertainty can leave lifelong scars. If Martell continues down this path, choosing ego over empathy, image over intimacy, he risks losing everything that truly matters. Fame fades. Money evaporates. But the bond between a parent and child is irreplaceable. Once it's broken, no amount of public praise or online validation can repair it. Martell's once polished image has become a cautionary tale. Once seen as a successful entrepreneur and devoted father, he's now viewed through a haze of disappointment. The cheating scandals, public arguments, and air of arrogance chipped away at his reputation, and these new allegations of neglect have only sealed the damage. Each opportunity for redemption slips through his fingers, replaced by another misstep, another excuse. Instead of rebuilding trust within his family, Martell seems more invested in preserving a facade. The illusion of control, the perception of success, the curated version of himself that thrives on screens but falters in real life. There was a time when people truly believed in his potential to grow, to reflect, to make amends. But those hopes have dimmed. What remains now is a sobering picture of a man who refuses accountability, and a family left to pick up the pieces. Melody, in contrast, continues to face this storm with remarkable grace and unwavering strength. Despite the constant obstacles Martell allegedly places in her path, she refuses to engage in the chaos or stoop to his level. Her resilience is a testament to the power of composure and conviction, proof that true strength lies not in retaliation, but in standing firm and protecting what truly matters. She is building a life defined by peace, independence, and stability, creating a safe haven where her children can grow and heal, far removed from the turmoil surrounding their father. Now, the responsibility lies squarely with the court. The judge must weigh the evidence, consider the reports from the children and the school, and recognize the recurring pattern of missed appearances and alleged violations. The time for leniency has long passed. These children deserve a secure and loving home, free from fear, neglect, and instability. If Martell truly wishes to be a father, he must prove it through consistent action, not empty promises, by committing to anger management, therapy, and genuine accountability. Until then, the court has a moral duty to protect the children by granting Melody full custody and limiting Martell to supervised visitation until real progress is shown. This is no longer a matter of fame, ego, or control. It is about the well-being of 4 innocent children who have already endured far too much. Martell has been given countless chances to do right by his family, yet he continues to choose self-interest over responsibility. So when people echo that chilling phrase, "F them kids," it resonates beyond mere words. It reflects the pattern of neglect, avoidance, and misplaced priorities that have defined his alleged actions. It is a heartbreaking reality that could have been avoided, but here we are, watching yet another chapter unfold in this seemingly endless saga. At this point, it is no longer about drama or television. It is about doing what is right and protecting the ones who matter most. At its core, this story has evolved far beyond the surface-level drama of a broken relationship or a contentious custody battle. It is no longer about conflict, control, or the bruised egos of 2 adults who once shared a life together. It is about something far more profound: accountability, justice, and the future of 4 innocent children who have been caught in a storm not of their own making. These children deserve far better than the chaos, the uncertainty, and the emotional turbulence that has surrounded them for years. They deserve a home that feels safe, a routine that offers comfort, and parents who prioritize their well-being over public image or personal pride. For too long, this case has been entangled in a web of delays, excuses, and procedural hesitations. Each postponed hearing, each rescheduled court date, represents another chapter of waiting for answers that never seem to come. And while the adults argue, negotiate, and perform for public attention, the children remain suspended in a painful limbo, too young to understand the complexities of custody law, yet old enough to feel the instability it creates. Every missed appearance, every broken promise, chips away at their sense of security. Their childhood, which should be filled with laughter, school activities, and unconditional love, has instead become a battlefield marked by uncertainty and emotional fatigue. The hope now is that the next court hearing will finally bring an end to this prolonged suffering. It should be the moment when the system chooses courage over complacency, when justice is measured not by procedure, but by compassion. The court has an opportunity, and a moral responsibility, to act decisively and prioritize the well-being of these children above all else. No more leniency for repeated disregard of court orders. No more tolerance for empty promises of reform. What these children need is stability, a consistent, nurturing environment where their voices are heard and their emotional health is protected. That environment, by all accounts, exists with Melody. Through years of adversity, she has demonstrated patience, perseverance, and grace. While the chaos around her has often been relentless, she has refused to let it define her or derail her sense of purpose. She continues to build a life that is healthy, stable, and focused on growth, not only for herself but for the 4 young lives entrusted to her care. She has shown what resilience looks like, not loud, not vengeful, but steady, enduring, and rooted in love. Her commitment to creating a safe and peaceful home has become the foundation her children can rely on when everything else feels uncertain. If the court truly values the principles of accountability and justice, then it must recognize the clear pattern before it. One parent has consistently shown up, emotionally, mentally, and physically, while the other has repeatedly chosen self-interest and avoidance. The difference between the two is not subtle. It is stark. Melody's actions have reflected a genuine desire to protect and nurture, while Martell's have too often been marked by inconsistency and neglect. The scales of responsibility are unbalanced, and it is time for the legal system to acknowledge that reality rather than hide behind bureaucracy. Granting Melody full custody is not about punishment or revenge. It is not an attempt to erase a father's presence, but rather to ensure that the children are no longer subjected to instability and fear. If Martell truly wishes to be part of their lives, he must earn that privilege through tangible change, by committing to therapy, attending anger management, and showing through consistent behavior that he can be trusted again. Words alone will no longer suffice. The children need proof that their father's love comes with safety, respect, and reliability. Because in the end, this is not a battle between 2 adults on opposite sides of a courtroom. It is a fight for the emotional and psychological well-being of 4 young hearts who depend on the adults around them to make the right choices. Every decision, every delay, every ruling carries consequences that will echo through these children's lives long after the headlines fade. Their future stability, their sense of trust, and their ability to form healthy relationships all depend on what happens next. It's easy to become desensitized to stories like this, to see them as just another celebrity feud playing out in public. But when you strip away the fame, the cameras, and the social media commentary, what remains is a family in crisis and children in pain. Behind the gossip are real tears, real fears, and real consequences. The responsibility of the court, the parents, and even the community watching from afar is to remember that these are human lives, not characters in a drama. The next court hearing should not be another performance of deflection and delay. It should be a turning point, a declaration that enough is enough, that the children's peace and protection come first, that excuses and avoidance will no longer outweigh the urgent need for accountability. The court must act decisively, not only to uphold the law but to restore a sense of safety and hope for the ones who have endured too much uncertainty for too long. Because at the heart of this case lies a simple truth: children deserve better. They deserve consistency over chaos, love over neglect, and parents who understand that their well-being is more valuable than any ego or public image. Melody has proven, time and again, that she is willing to do the work, make the sacrifices, and put her children first. Now it is time for the system to do the same, to protect what is pure, fragile, and irreplaceable. In the end, this is not about winning or losing. It's about doing what's right, not for the parents, not for public perception, but for the 4 innocent children who have no voice in the fight, yet bear the deepest wounds of it all. May the next ruling bring not another excuse, but long-awaited closure. May it offer healing instead of more heartbreak. And above all, may it finally allow these children the peace, stability, and love they have always deserved.